Most people think this crow with the 3 red eyes at the end of Arcane is Swain, but that doesn't actually make sense in the timeline. In the lore, Swain is a general at the invasion of Ionia, where he fights Irelia and loses an arm, then returns to Noxus where he finds the Demon of Secrets Ra, and makes a deal with him, becoming the champion we see in-game. The crows themselves are avatars of the Demon of Secrets, who is tied with Aurelian's soul as the being with the most knowledge in all of League of Legends. But these crows have been all over Runeterra collecting information for thousands of years, long before Swain was even born. In fact, the way he even found out about the existence of Raum was by looking into one of the crow's eyes and sensing the demon's power, after he was defeated by Aurelia and lay near death on the battlefield in Ionia. And this is where it gets really interesting. If these crows were Swain, that would mean the invasion of Ionia has already happened, but that doesn't actually make any sense, because the weapons the Noxians use against Ionia were designed by Singed. That's an eerily similar detail to how Ambessa planned to make use of Singed herself, and since we don't know when Arcane is set in the overall story, that could mean that this raven is still Raum and isn't controlled by Swain yet, and the ships we see sailing off into the distance are actually the Noxian armada on its way to Ionia. Another insanely important detail is that Swain used to be a part of the very same Black Rose we see in Arcane, who are also trying to find and control Raum for their own self-interests. Before Swain became one of the leaders of Noxus, it was ruled by a single man named Borum Darkwill, and the reason Swain overthrew him is because LeBlanc had infected his mind with her magic, and essentially ruled Noxus through Darkwill's leadership, making LeBlanc Swain's #1 enemy. I like to think it's not just a coincidence that LeBlanc gets introduced, at roughly the same time that a vague but important teaser for Swain is the cliffhanger that ends Arcane, a show where crows are a constant motif throughout both seasons, ran by writers who explain that the most important part of Arcane is that the champions we know interact with one another, and what better place to do that than in one of the most central and important storylines in the entire lore, where fan-favorite characters like Zed, Irelia, Darius, Riven, Lee Sin, and Yasuo can interact with one another at the Noxian invasion of Ionia.